Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm Ryan Wright.
And I'm Andrew.
So today Andrew and I are going to check out from All Time Movies the top 5 worst movie reboots. Their special little list. Andrew and I were talking before this, guessing what could be on there. You were saying Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, that movie was awful. I personally hated Total Recall. I stopped that movie halfway through, and I said the only way I'm going to continue this is if Arnold Schwarzenegger comes in.
Hi, I'm Chris. Now, some remakes are just awesome.
That was cool.
Better than the original, in fact. But we're not going to talk about those. Oh no. These are the top 5 worst movie reboots ever. Number 5, Planet of the Apes.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah.
That was pretty bad.
The original Planet of the Apes is a classic, although at times humorously outdated. Perhaps best known for its twist ending.
God damn you all to
Still cracks me up. I don't know
So
why.
in Tim Burton's reboot, it feels like he was trying to outdo the 1968 ending and come up with a twist even more shocking. The result instead is
Laughable.
kind of stupid, really. It's
Laughable.
basically just a bad chase film with monkey puppets. This bunch is just too
The
funny
makeup
for
effects were
Marky
great
Mark.
though.
Great fake Reboots.
Stay away from remakes, Tim. No, really. Get the f away from that remake, Tim. Number 4, The Amazing Spider-Man, 2012.
Yeah, that's debatable.
Think 5
Yeah.
years is too soon for a complete series reboot? Sony didn't think that, and Peter Parker returned in The Amazing Spider-Man.
I like The
in
Amazing
2012.
Spider-Man.
The second
For
one was
added
awful, but the
originality,
first one was
the
okay.
reboot was essentially a retelling of the origin story told in 2002's Spider-Man, except this time with the Lizard instead of the Green Goblin.
You're right.
It all felt pretty familiar, just, more cheesy and a lot more Hollywood.
I felt all the
Plus,
differences.
they managed to hire actors playing high school students that looked even older. Now, Amazing
Well, yeah.
Spider-Man 2 was a box office flop, but never fear, Spidey fans, yet another Spider-Man is set to appear in the next Avengers film. I know I can't wait. Number 3,
There you go.
Nightmare on Elm
There you
Street,
go.
2010.
Terrible movie.
The original came out in 1984
Great movie.
and was so popular that
Love that.
6 sequels came out by 1994. But there was also a TV series.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I know, right? So Freddy
Oh,
Krueger
right,
has been
right.
terrorizing a lot of teenagers for a very long time. But with no input from creator Wes Craven, who didn't go see it and had nothing to do with it, it's less surprising the 2010 reboot was a flop. Starring Rooney Mara and a blonde woman who looks 35. Looks like they've also borrowed from The Shining. Number 2, The Lone Ranger.
Ranger.
The Lone Ranger was originally a
I
series of
didn't think it was
novels
as horrible
in
as
the
everyone
1930s,
said.
then a radio show in the 50s, TV series in the 60s, and a series of films up until the mid-2000s.
These cats are going
So when the
bananas,
guys who
man.
did Pirates of the Caribbean decided to take on the Lone Ranger,
Gordon.
let's face it, a pretty outdated story, they got off to a tricky start by casting Johnny Depp as Native American sidekick Tonto. Although Johnny Depp insists, and I quote, "My great-grandmother was quite a bit of Native American." Good to know, Johnny. Accusations of casual racism aside, reviewers and audiences alike felt that the film was far too long, too boring, and way too hokey. Yeah, just stick to the swashbuckling pirates, guys.
Could be worse.
Could be worse.
How could this be worse?
Number 1, Pink Panther, 2006.
I'd like to buy a hamburger.
That's my Arnold.
Now, the original Pink Panther films are wonderful. Some of my favorites. And Steve Martin just can't live up to it. Why on earth would you try to regurgitate the comedic genius of the great Peter Sellers? You can't. Jokes that felt fresh and hilarious from Sellers
Tu as promis de massage?
You want a massage, eh?
If you have one for me, yes.
come across as hammy and really forced from Martin.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
The reboots of Pink Panther did well enough at the box office to warrant a sequel.
That one was
Thankfully,
so bad.
Part 2 was a
Hey,
big enough
see it.
bust to kill the second coming of Clouseau.
Good.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click here to see the top 5 worst sex scenes in movies. I promise you'll enjoy it. See you later.
Watchmen one. I don't even know what that one was. Wow, okay. So first one was, number 5 was Planet of the Apes.
I really agree with that one.
There are things about it that I do appreciate. Intent, like what he sought out to do, because he wasn't said. It's clear that he's not setting out to make a bad movie. There was a lot of work put into it. I remember when the DVD came out, there was over 50 hours of behind the scenes footage. They put a lot of work into it. It just didn't turn out well in the end.
Absolutely, and I completely agree with what you said earlier. The makeup in that film was fantastic, but
Totally.
that ending was just, even I was like 12 or 13 in the theater when I saw it. I was like, what the heck? That's completely ridiculous, you know?
When you see the first Planet, I remember I saw the first Planet of the Apes right before watching the reboot. I was really young, and I remember watching the ending going, oh, yo, Todd, chill the fuck out, pussycat. I remember watching that ending and being like, holy shit, that's fucking insane. And you get chills. When I saw the remake, everyone started cracking up when that happened, man. It was just a theater full of hysterical people, man. And so, yeah, that was a pretty disappointing. And Mark Wahlberg's not that great in it.
Yeah, no, that was before he
got good. Yeah. There was a period where Mark Wahlberg wasn't that great.
Absolutely.
He did like Boogie Nights and a bunch of mainstream movies that weren't that great, and then he got really good.
And everyone always has one bad day at the office sometimes too, you know? Someone doesn't
Yeah.
do, so it happens, you know, he got better and it is what it is, but I agree with you. I thought the intent was very good, you know. I watched a lot of that behind the scenes too. They definitely worked hard in the film. It just was a complete miss. You know?
Yeah, unfortunately. And then number 4 was The Amazing Spider-Man. Okay, Amazing Spider-Man 2, I was let down by.
Oh, that movie was
big
awful.
time. I mean, if you watch my review for it, I was like, yeah, I didn't think it was that great. But the first one, I remember really enjoying it. I'm like, sure, it's another origin tale, but if you get past the fact that it's another origin tale and you witness and feel the differences, it makes it worthwhile.
I'm not like in love with it. I think it's a good film. You know, I definitely see where the guy, I understood why he put it on his list, but I don't agree with that list is the worst movie. That, to me, movie was not, I've seen way worse reboots than that film. That film was not, again, I felt some similarities. I know you say you don't feel the similarities, but definitely, you know, because it was so close, I guess, is why I felt some of the origin. But again, there was a lot of different stuff around it. They had Gwen Stacy, obviously, not Mary Jane. In this, I thought the love connection was much better. You know, I liked how they were more in high school now. The other one just kind of got to college, and I'd say like around the 30-minute mark.
And if you watch the first Spider-Man, it feels kind of cartoony, a little comic booky. That one felt like, this is a
more serious,
darker take on it.
The Dark Knight take on it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what everyone started doing for a while. And then you have Andrew Garfield, who's a totally different type of Peter Parker. And I like his interpretation, too. Like, I'm like, yeah, he's more wisecracking and stuff. I'm like, that's more like the Peter Parker I know. So to have, like, a wisecrack, sure, he's, like, a good-looking dude, but doesn't look like a nerd at all.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that guy should have put for top 5 worst sequels, definitely Amazing Spider-Man 2 should be in there, but for top 5 worst reboots, I don't know if I agree with Amazing Spider-Man.
And the Nightmare on Elm Street was a number 3 choice. That is I mean, I didn't finish that one either. I got bored.
You're the lucky one, huh? I finished it.
You finished it?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I just couldn't sit through it. I was like really bored.
Oh, I was too.
That's the thing they were missing so much about Freddy Krueger was fucking personality, you know? Like, there's no personality.
Also,
what was the actor's name?
Jackie Earle Haley was the new one. The original was Robert Englund, who was fantastic. He was so good as Freddy.
I remember when Jackie Earle Haley got the role. People were actually like, "All right, he just did Watchmen. He stole the show.
Awesome.
He was. I remember in Watchmen when he said, "What is the famous line that he said?
The world will ask for help."
No. When he's in the prison. And he's like, oh, I'm not in here with you. You're in here with me. Everyone started applauding.
That was that was the best line.
So I was like, okay, I can get on board for. And then it was so boring.
Yeah.
And Rooney Mara even said, I didn't want to do it, but I just did it.
Well, yeah, I mean, a couple things that they should have understood. If you rewatch the first film, you don't even see Freddy in it that much, really.
No.
It's the thought of him, like he can kill you in your dreams. You didn't need to see it, just the thought of him.
Yeah, it was the sequels where he started becoming campy.
Yeah, and I understood why they were trying to do it. They were trying to, make, maximize their product. I get that, purpose of it. So, but in the new one, they should have went back to what made the franchise great in the first place. I'm not saying, put less Freddy in, but, definitely a little less Freddy heavy and stop with the jump scares every 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's, you know what I mean? It doesn't make your story better.
And then when they pay homage, you're like, I'd rather just be watching the original
yeah,
right now.
exactly. And also too, one other thing they did bad in that film, if you watch the first one, you're with Nancy just about the whole film, and not that you're not with Nancy this film, but it's like Katie Cassidy is kind of the lead a little bit, the Tina character that she's they're redoing, and then halfway through now it's Nancy after she's been killed, and then the first one, it was basically you were with Nancy the whole way through the film, and she was the hero, and she was smart, and she and how she went all home alone on Freddy at the end, loved in this one. I didn't care if she died or not. I didn't care.
The Lone Ranger was one of those films that I saw after everyone was hating on it, and I was like, all right, here we go, another shit Johnny Depp movie. Johnny Depp was like the most amazing actor to me for a long time, and then he started really letting me down. And then Lone Ranger just added to that.
Yeah.
I saw the movie. Did you see it?
I actually, funny story, I saw, the last Johnny Depp Gore Verbinski film I saw was Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. And after I saw that and after I heard the stuff that was the reviews and everyone what they were saying, I was like, nope, not gonna watch it. So Pirates of the Caribbean 3 was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I hate that movie.
It's
I
pretty
despise
bad.
it. And then when I read and heard the reviews and everyone telling me how awful this film was, like, no. So I stayed away.
But honestly, I had a few good laughs when I was watching The Lone Ranger. You know, Tarantino. What I think the year was 2013 it came out.
Yeah, I believe so.
And Tarantino put it on his list of one of his favorite movies that year.
Well, you know, like I've said before, all films are subjective. So,
Yeah.
you know, no one is actually right or wrong, you know?
And the Pink Panther, to me, the first one, because I was like, what's the point of this guy trying to do the Pink? Like, at least do it differently instead of doing a mock performance
Just
of
an
it.
total impersonation.
Yeah, but I ended up like kind of enjoying the first one.
Yeah, that was okay.
Second one though, I really did. It was actually kind of a racist and sexist film too. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning into the channel. If you're new to it, you can subscribe to The Real Rejects. You can follow Andrew on Twitter. He tweets a lot more than we tweet. Twitter.com/agore711. You should see a title text here for how it's spelled. Right there. By Andrew Scratch. And you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Vine, and Periscope. Do you have a Periscope yet?
I don't. I'm not cool, I guess, like everyone else who has Periscope.
I'm definitely cool. I Periscope like once every 2 months.
Nice.
But I get followers because I keep telling people to follow me. It's the way I am.